Televolunteer Diane Boyer and Tammara have both done one-to-one tutoring with students who were seeking support preparing for the citizenship test and interview. And both Diane and Tammara have a 100% success rate. So I asked them to share a little bit about their experiences and tips for teachers who are considering working one-to-one with a student on citizenship test practice.
Good morning. I want to share with you an experience that I've had when one of my students came to me with a goal of becoming a U.S. citizen. And so the biggest thing that I want to have you take away from this is that our students already have a relationship with us, and they find peace of mind and security and trust. And so I was privileged beyond measure to be able to help this student. And the way that we began was, number one, the relationship. And then as I did more research into it, I realized there's quite a bit of a financial cost and responsibility that they have to commit to. And then they begin this whole process, which I found extremely overwhelming as somebody who's already from the United States, took some things for granted. So I encourage you to take a look at all the resources, the application process, the interview, the test. If you have a student that you're going to help, really take a look at those things so you know how to best support them through the process. My student and I would meet after class, and then we would meet at the public library. She was one of my low to middle intermediate students. She did pass for the first time, and it was such again, an honor and a privilege to work with her. And I think you would find it to be the same.
I worked with Francisco, a delightful Brazilian immigrant. Like many of our learners, Francisco is extremely bright and motivated, but it had limited access to formal education. By the time he was ready to take his citizenship test, he was a solid high beginning to low intermediate student. He enrolled in Pima Community College citizenship classes, and he was also doing self-study, watching YouTube videos and listening to recordings of the civics questions and answers. About the time he submitted his application to take the citizenship test is when I started working with him. We met once a week at a coffee shop. Initially, we would work on specific things that he was struggling with, very often pronunciation. And then it evolved into conducting practice interviews. I also sent him several times a week questions on WhatsApp using audio recordings so he could practice the civics questions as well as reading, writing, and answering questions related to his application. When he took the test, he passed easily the very first time and became a proud citizen of the United States. My top 3 tips for helping a person prepare for taking the naturalization test. First, identify the civics questions for which answers will vary, such as who is your representative? Who is the governor of your state? What is the capital city of your state? Prepare audio and text versions of those answers and give them to the applicant to use for self-study. Second, practice interviews are extremely useful and helpful in terms of raising confidence for the applicant. Literacy Minnesota has a great checklist, which we've linked to use for small talk and questions based on the applications. Add in civics questions, reading and writing, and you're set. And don't forget to mix up the way you ask the questions, such as who is versus can you tell me the name of? And sometimes ask things that you know that are deliberately wrong, like saying you have 4 children, right? When you know that the applicant only has 2. And finally, using audio message for practice, be it on WhatsApp or just regular text. And they're a great way to gauge progress and help the applicant work on not only the answers, but correct pronunciation.